like to take this moment on behalf of Alumni House to ask that you notify Alumni Office of any news of alumni that passes away in order for us to update our website and make note of it. We are in for a treat for tonight. We have 3 of our alumni telling their stories. Joining us tonight, we are provided with music from musicians of the night as Andy Ndlazilwana and her band. And we're joined by international attendees as well, Mrs. Primrose Ignore from the United States, and Mrs. Gail Mosdale from Australia, who was one of the Perth alumni organizers who organized a recent reunion on the 23rd of May. A special welcome to you both for taking the time to attend our conference. May I then introduce to you Dr. Adele Moodley, Registrar of Rhodes University, who is hosting this event tonight. The first Black woman to be appointed as Registrar in the 115 years of Rhodes University's history. Dr. Adele Moodley started her career at Rhodes in October 2017. This is part of a journey through a higher education in which she has been mostly in the academic domain, having spent 20 years at Walter Sisulu, part of which was the former Eastern Cape Technikon, with a period of just over 1 year and a quarter in Saudi Arabia on sabbatical, and just over 3 years in the University of Fort Hare. She has held various positions of leadership within academia and within these institutions, and brings with her a wealth of experience merging academic leadership with administration and university governance. Truly a product of where leaders learn. An old Rhodian, first year at Rhodes University in 1985, Prof. Moodley holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in English and Psychology. Be careful what you say around her. And higher education diploma in education from Rhodes University. She also holds a Bachelor of Education and a Master's degree in Education from the University of South Africa. She completed her Doctor of Education qualification with UNISA in 2001 and holds a Master's of Business Administration degree from the Netherlands Business School. Her appointment is in line with Rhodes University's transformation agenda, which seeks to address the imbalances in the representation of women and Black people in our executive structure. Allow me to welcome Dr. Moodley.
Good evening, everybody. It's lovely to see you all here this evening, and it is an honor and a pleasure to be the host this evening. I would like to bring you warm greetings on behalf of our Chancellor, retired Judge Lex Mpati, as well as our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Sizwe Mabizela, who is also present here with us this evening. Further, I'd also like to acknowledge alumni present, staff members, including deans, persons who have and who are currently of service to our university in various ways, including as members of council, board of governors, SRC leadership, and councillors. Let me say for myself that it's an absolute privilege to be with you here this evening, and I hope to get the opportunity to greet all of you before you leave. The cocktail party is being held, as you have heard, in honor of our classes of 1980 to 1995, which is a very special era of which I myself am a part. But I also would like to acknowledge that we have some alumni here. I've met one person from 1957. I don't know if there's anyone who has been here before. So that is absolutely fantastic. Again, I would like to thank on behalf of the University Nedbank for sponsoring us and enabling Imbawula to create what promises to be a wonderful storytelling atmosphere. In the context of social change and transformation, an important beacon for our university, I embraced the title of first black female registrar of Rhodes University in over a century. I do so proudly. Women of all races have in the past been marginalized in our society. Black women were structurally excluded from leadership positions in higher education. Being appointed by Rhodes University with its history is something I celebrate for myself, for women, and especially for black women. The last 2 decades of the apartheid era, from the mid-1970s to the mid-1990s, were years when the National Party government had to contend with both growing international pressure and rising protest and resistance. The government devised a twofold response: mild reform combined with even harsher repression and a ruthless crackdown on its opponents. Both trends had an impact on Rhodes, giving rise to growing turbulence and polarization on campus. The first government reform to have an impact on Rhodes was the slow, limited process of desegregation. From the early 1970s, black students could apply for permits to register at white universities for courses not offered at black universities. In 1983, this policy was replaced by a quota system which allowed white universities to admit black students regardless of their chosen courses, but with a limit on the number who could be admitted. Our records reflect that the first Rhodes students to register under the permit system mostly took courses in journalism or pharmacy, neither of which were offered at black universities. In 1976, Rhodes admitted 7 black students. By 1985, black students constituted 18% of the total student population at the university. As South Africa moved into the post-apartheid era in the 1990s, Rhodes University, like other South African universities, faced new challenges and pressures. The transformation imperative had a number of dimensions, significantly increasing the number of black students and staff, addressing and changing the institutional culture of universities so as to be more inclusive and congenial to a diverse community, examining and revising curricula and teaching practices to adopt and include an Africa focus, and reviewing governance structures and practices. In the sphere of governance, leading black personalities would come to take their place in the upper echelons of the university. Jakes Gerwel as Chancellor from 1999, followed by Lex Mpati from 2013, Colin Johnson appointed as Vice Principal in 2001, Salim Badat serving as Vice Chancellor from 2006 to 2014, to be succeeded by Sizwe Mabizela, who had previously held the position of Vice Principal. I spent my first 4 years away from home in 1985, walking up and down what used to be the Eden Grove pathway. Perhaps some of you remember it to the right. Today, 32 years later, I occupy an office as the registrar on the same grounds. Today, the residences we used to refer to after colonial and apartheid icons are called Robert Sobukwe, Charlotte Makleke, Enoch Sontonga, Yuma Sakele, and are named after various and many other African and South African patriots. Today, I am proud to say, I am an old Rhodian. Back in 1985, Rhodes was one of the few white institutions that accepted black students. It was seen to be a liberal university. This campus grew me out of the sheltered childhood I had in Port Elizabeth. It was during the height of political turmoil, student activism, and national boycotts. The Rhodes Black student movement and white student movements was respectively led by the likes of Ray Hartle, Sim Chabalala, and Ashwin Desai, amongst others, who had constant run-ins at these drusty lawns with the police and special forces. Students were grabbed and detained for long periods, and those of us that were somewhat in the middle had to assist when leaders went underground or were arrested. Student politics were part of the national agenda. The outrage against the continued oppression of black people by the apartheid government, the national agenda for a free society. After 1994, Rhodes University's records reflect a gradual change in the racial composition of Rhodes student population. In 1994, about 32% of the student body was black in the broad sense of the term, out of a total student population of 4,094. By 2014, the proportion of black students had doubled to 64% out of a total population of 7,519. In 2016, 71% of the student body was black out of a total of 8,100 students, and in 2019, we have 82% of the student body who are black out of 8,300 students. Next week, a new Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Academic and Student Affairs will be starting at the university. She is black, she is African, she is a woman. She is Professor Mabokang Monapula Mapesela. Wamandla. I would like to focus on our institutional development plan. From our groundbreaking Transformation Summit in July 2017, we deliberated a strategy to be even more relevant to the current global, national, and local contexts. In 2018, Rhodes University adopted its first institutional development plan, a blueprint for us to reinvent ourselves in the current context, but to also keep what is really precious about the university. The reimagining of Rhodes University rests on 4 pillars. Let me briefly share these. Sustainability, including financial sustainability, is always front of mind, since we, as every other university in this sector, took a huge amount of financial strain following the fees must fall movement. Sustainability also falls within our intellectual project, and one of the particular strengths about Rhodes University is our very flexible formative degree. When other universities went on to offer the rigid professional qualification, we took a particular decision not to do that. To enable students has been a long-standing tradition at Rhodes University, specifically through the offering of a flexible curriculum based on nurturing research and individual thinking at a very early stage in the student's career. We believe this serves our graduates incredibly well, and all of us here are testament to that. The second pillar focuses on the university being simultaneously locally responsive and globally engaged. This means being particularly conscious to the fact that our graduates populate spaces across the planet and need to be functional in those areas and be able to be aware of the multicultural situations and global context. It also means our students need to be very aware of the local context in which Rhodes University functions. And so we have put in a lot of effort into ensuring that as a university, we contribute to our geophysical and communal area. Our Vice-Chancellor is particularly strong on this, and in his inaugural speech, he used a verse from a childhood song to make this point, and he sings very well, which includes, "Do not wait to shed your light afar, brighten the corner where you are." Advancing social justice is the third pillar of this plan, and this has a lot to do, of course, with access to the university by students who are academically deserving, but their circumstances do not allow them to pay their fees. The fourth pillar is advancing the public good purpose of higher education, and this truly permeates through all the components of the plan. We can talk about that some more if you're interested in that aspect. Now let me share some more of the wonderful achievements that have been taking place at and through Rhodes University more recently. Most of you as alumni will have received our newsletters and already know some of these things. So I'll whip through them quickly. I invite you to mix and mingle later, to ask questions, to give us advice, tell us what are your insights about the university, because we'd really love to hear about them. In terms of research, Distinguished Professor of Medicinal Chemistry and Nanotechnology, Tebelo Nyokong, has recently received her 4th honorary doctorate, this time from her alma mater, Western University in Canada. She has also been announced as the 2020 Lifetime Achievement Awardee of the International Society of Porphyrins and Phthalocyanines. This recognition will be awarded in New York. Professor Limson, Director of the Biotechnology Innovation Center at Rhodes University, wowed us all recently with a stellar work in making HIV treatment testing and malaria testing more accessible, simpler, and cheaper by using urine dipsticks instead of blood tests. Professor Edkins, Director of the Biomedical Biotechnology Research Unit at Rhodes, just as impressively was recently awarded the Newton Advanced Fellowship Grant of £1,100, which is close to 2 million rand, from the Academy of Medical Sciences. On the physics and radio astronomy side, we've had immense pride in our postgraduate students working with Professor Oleg Smirnov on the Meerkat project. Tariq Blecher, Lerato Sebokolodi, and Benjamin Hugo are all principal investigators selected by the South African Radio Astronomy Observatory to use the Meerkat radio telescope over the next several months. Rhodes University has a world-class radio interferometry group making significant contributions to cutting-edge radio telescopes. The Event Horizon Telescope, a planet-scale array of 8 ground-based radio telescopes forged through international collaboration, was designed to capture images of the black hole. Professor Cliff Jones and Peter Brits from the Department of Ichthyology and Fisheries Science are part of the International Aquavitae project, consisting of over 70 scientists and industry professionals from 16 countries. The project's purpose is to introduce new low-trophic species, products and processes in marine aquaculture value chains across the Atlantic. 4 Rhodes University PhD chemistry students were awarded the top position in the 2019 Rhodes Prize Challenge held in Kenya for the electronic and electrical waste management system. Team eSmart will spend 8 weeks in the United Kingdom for the Rhodes Prize Acceleration Program starting in July this year. Yolandi Duplessis, who graduated with her PhD this year, has won the Psychology of Women and Equality section and Feminism and Psychology Postgraduate Prize. People from around the world apply for this prize and the competition is stiff. Her submission was given full marks, a very rare occurrence in the social sciences. I'm extremely happy to share with you what you can look at in terms of our research performance per research capita. We are at the top. We are generally in the We are generally in the top 3, and in the last audit, we were number 1 after spending time sharing the position with Stellenbosch University previously. An important aspect going forward is a focus on our enrollment, and we have carefully devised enrollment plans. Our aim is to build on our strengths, teaching and learning, research, and community engagement. And we would like to recruit more students in these areas. So going forward, our enrollment plan hinges very significantly on keeping our level of postgraduate students. And I'm also very pleased to tell you that at undergraduate level, in terms of the SAQA norms, Rhodes University has the best success rate. We have a throughput rate of 76.7% for a 3-year undergraduate degree versus the average higher education sector rate of 52%. As much as it has to do with our size, it has a lot to do with the staff to student ratio. Although we do have an advantage in that area, we also have a disadvantage. Of course, it is quite expensive to keep a good staff to student ratio, so it is a challenge budget-wise in terms of this. Our intention is to keep our postgraduate numbers at 30 to 33%. So a third of our students will be doing their postgraduate qualifications, and that gives us a very strong intellectual character. It also provides highly qualified tutors for the various graduate programs that we run, and that too is an advantage. Let me focus on the funding side of things, if I may. Despite some commendable fundraising efforts and growing response from many of our alumni, we are still in a tough position in terms of student financial aid and endowment. What we have done to try and address this is to come up with a very ambitious fundraising initiative called Isivivane. You may have read about it, and our goal of raising R1 billion in 10 years through this initiative, which is very high-reaching indeed. However, we really believe that it is possible, and we have had some fantastic support so far from organizations, corporates and banks in South Africa, and our alumni have supported the cause not only financially, but also by opening doors for us to meet with potential donors. Where we believe the biggest challenge lies is not with the new fee-free education families with less than 350,000 Rand gross income, but with the families between those that can apply for funding and those that can afford funding. You may have heard of the term missing middle. Many of our students comprise of the missing middle group. As such, we are increasingly calling on donors and alumni to help us address that. Our aim is that no financially needy but academically capable student should be turned away from this university. We believe financial need should never be a reason someone's education goals cannot be met. Please consider donating monthly to this campaign. No amount is too small. 100 Rand, 250 or 500 Rand a month might be a few cups of cappuccino less, and maybe a weekend without your favorite drink, but it could also be an opening of a door for someone deserving but financially needy to a brighter future. Money accumulates over years and becomes a substantial and much needed amount to help one of our students graduate. We invest some of the unencumbered money we receive in order to grow our reserves, in order to sustain our excellence. We need your support. In this regard, I urge you to fill in the forms readily available this evening, and if you look at your tables, you'll find a form inside this particular brochure. Of course, you can cancel the debit order whenever you would like, if you wish to do so. But financial aid is not the only reason that we appreciate an opportunity to engage with you, though. It is also to thank you for what you have done. The university substantially gets its reputation from its alumni. When our alumni go out and make a success of their lives and say, "I am a Rhodes graduate," the reputation of this university grows. So I thank you, all of you, for the success you made of being a Rhodes graduate. I want to thank you for the doors that you have opened and the way you affirm the reputation of the university at every opportunity that you get. We rely on you for that, and you deliver on that. We deeply and sincerely appreciate it, and we thank you for coming to celebrate being an old Rhodian with us. And before I end off this evening, there are 3 persons that I would like to thank on behalf of the Division for Communication and Advancement, and also to acknowledge. The 3 persons, and maybe they will just wave or just show themselves wherever they are. Nkuseli Faku. Primrose Igono. Tapelo Pizzo. Thank you for your continued love, your commitment, for going the extra mile, for the incalculable contribution to making this evening a reality and a great success. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the evening, and I look forward to mingling and interacting with you.